We're back to the Neil Haley Show here on the Total Celebrity segment, and an amazing story. I mean, a story that I'm just blown away by. The first blind contestant and winner of a TV cooking show, Master Chef, won't let the rare disease that caused her blindness to stop her pursuing her dreams. So I'm excited to welcome the program Chef Christine and also Dr. Williams. Guys, thanks for stopping by. How are you today?
We're good. Thank you so much for having us.
Absolutely. So, Christine, can you tell us how you first learned of your diagnosis?
Sure. It started when I was 20 years old. First, it was blurriness in one eye, and then eventually blurriness in the other eye. Initially, I was misdiagnosed with MS, and then several years later, I found a neurologist that understood me and a healthcare team that finally correctly diagnosed me with NMOSD, which is short for neuromyelitis optica spectrum disorder.
All right. And so I'm going to ask Dr. Williams, what is neuromyelitis optica spectrum disorder? A good thing for early in the morning to ask that question.
Absolutely. So that pronunciation was absolutely perfect. So NMOSD is a rare autoimmune condition where the immune system essentially attacks the nerves. The nerves of the eye are most commonly affected, and symptoms can result in blindness or loss of vision. Also, the spinal cord is affected, so people can have numbness and tingling or paralysis. It affects about 10 to 15,000 people in the United States. And one of the reasons that we have decided to partner with Horizon Therapeutics for the NMOSD Won't Stop Me campaign is because sometimes the symptoms are irreversible. So we want to raise awareness so that people can be diagnosed and brought to medical attention early so that they can be treated and potentially prevent some disability.
Now, Christine, how did you move forward and become so unstoppable in light of the challenges you faced?
Well, initially it was difficult. It's human nature, I think, to go through this grieving process when you lose your vision or lose some independence. But when I was correctly diagnosed and put on treatment plan that helped me, I was able to kind of pick myself up and move forward. So I taught myself how to cook again in the kitchen with less vision. I learned how to read Braille. I learned orientation mobility with a white cane, and then how to navigate the Houston public transportation system, which wasn't easy to go back to school. Went back to school, did a complete career change, got back in the kitchen and kept cooking so that I could continue to be independent, and then decided to audition for MasterChef. And then since then, winning that season in 2012 really launched my culinary career. So for me, it's really important to be an encouragement to other people to share their own story and show that it's possible to live with this disease and also fulfill all of your dreams and live your life to the fullest. So I encourage people to visit nmosdwon'tstopme.com to learn about other people's stories, connect with other patients with NMOSD, and of course, share their own unstoppable story.
Christine, how did it feel winning it? I mean, it had to feel so amazing. Because once I'm sure once
I
you
mean, it
got
was
diagnosed,
definitely,
once you got diagnosed, you must
yeah,
have felt like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to be able to cook again. I'm never going to do my passion again. And then you were able to
right.
overcome that and then win Master Chef. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it was tough. I didn't know how I would live a quote unquote normal life again. I didn't know how independent I could be again, or what my next move or my purpose would be in life. I felt like I was taking a lot of steps backwards. But to be able to compete on the show and then end up winning that season, it was definitely a surreal moment. I felt like I had to work 2, 3, 4 times as hard as other people to get to where I was. But I feel like I worked hard. I put my head down and just put my mind to it, and then um, found a way to continue to do what I love to do. And most importantly, though, is to now I'm been given this platform to be an advocate for people living with NMOSD or disability or vision loss, and show them that they too can live a very fulfilling and accomplished life.
And I think that's the most important thing. Live that accomplished life, and you're such a role model. Dr. Williams, what advice do you have for patients with NMOSD community, for that community?
Yeah, so the first piece of advice is you are your own best advocate, and it's important to educate yourself to the best of your ability about your condition and to really engage in the healthcare process. Make sure that you're communicating with your healthcare providers if you're having issues, and help to create the best treatment plan for you. I think the second piece of advice is to join the community, right? So raising awareness is so important, and this campaign is so important because we want people to know that they are not alone in this fight and in this struggle. And also, we want them to hear about inspiring stories from amazing people like Christine, who have not only faced the same challenges they have, but have been able to overcome them and to accomplish their dreams and goals. So, those are my two pieces of advice that I would give.
And I think, Dr. Williams, how passionate are you about this community and working with them to be part of this?
Absolutely. So, I am a specialist in neuroimmunology, which includes NMOSD as well as multiple sclerosis. And as we discussed earlier, sometimes there's some overlap and people can be misdiagnosed with MS when they actually have NMOSD. So I'm very passionate about educating and empowering people living with these conditions to be their own best advocates and part of their healthcare team.
And I think that's the greatest thing is when you are doing something you love and are passionate about, it doesn't feel like work. It feels like something, and it's something you're making a difference. And congratulations to you for all the work you do, Dr. Williams. Christine, where can we learn more about the campaign and gain access to your recipes?
Sure, you can visit the website, nmosdwon'tstopme.com, and that's where you can find resources, learn about the advocacy organizations that are part of this campaign. And of course, if you share your own unstoppable NMOSD story, you can get the chance to win a signed copy of my cookbook, and it's got comfort food recipes and a lot of the things that I did cook on MasterChef.
And how important is to put equity in your being with the food you eat, especially with the recipes you have and all that stuff as a chef? We see so many things that are not healthy that we're intake. How important is that to you as a chef to be responsible?
I think it's important, and I think living life balanced is the most important thing. You know your body best. So, if it's a day that you feel like eating a piece of cake will mean more to you emotionally and mentally, then by all means do it. We shouldn't live on a diet where we're eating a slice of cake for every meal, but whatever it does to make you feel better physically, but emotional and mentally as well, that's also important. So I think your body best, listen to yourself, listen to your gut on what it is that you want to eat.
Well, I love hearing that because we can't just always be on this specific diet, as I am I'm looking at that and what I'm eating more healthy, but you always have to have that cheat day or cheat meal or else you'll go crazy because there's so much good food out there. Where can people follow you social media wise? Are you on social media that people can connect with you as well?
I am. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and my handle is The Blind Cook for all those.
All right. And any other new
and
projects?
Also on
go ahead. Where you can find info on you as well.
Oh, I was going to say, I'm also on Instagram as the Nerdy Neurologist.
Awesome. So I'm impressed. You're branding yourself as well with this, and that's important because you're building this community, and to build a community leads to tribe building and leads them to this huge success. Because once you bring a community together and they have the right resources together, there's no stopping that community from the strides and improvement that they can make, because stories make people passionate, excited, and everything. So I appreciate you both coming by today and talking about this tremendous cause. And I hope everyone reaches out to you guys. So thanks again for coming on the show.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right. You're listening and watching The Neil Haley Show, and we'll be back in just a moment.
Sitting on your butt, watching TV, and you're surfing for something good. Just grab your remote and follow me to Bethel Park TV. BPTV, BPTV. It's at Comcast 7, Verizon 32, and even on YouTube. Made by Bethel Park residents, it's a little slice of heaven, 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 heaven. Be sure to visit BPTV, BPTV. Be sure to visit BPTV, Bethel Park TV.
back to the Neil Haley Show here on the Caregiver Dave Celebrity segment. I'm excited to welcome to Caregiver Dave and Sandy. Dave, how are you? What's going on?
Hey, I'm doing good. Getting ready to go to Philadelphia. So close to you in Pittsburgh.
Oh,
Why
yeah.
don't you hop on a plane and we can have lunch or something?
It's 5. No, you're not as
Or a
close as you
bus.
think. 5 hours difference. Everyone thinks that
Gosh,
Pittsburgh and Philly are close.
Pittsburgh that big, huh?
Yeah, Pennsylvania is that big for sure. And our guest today, joining us today, is from Bal Ethnic's co-founder and choreographer and dancer, Waverly Lucas. Waverly, thanks for stopping by. How are you, man?
Thank you, Neil. Thanks for having.
Absolutely. First, tell us this upcoming performance at Kennedy Center, and when is it? And what is it all about, the significance to the company and you and society overall?
Yes, this is a very important performance. I think not only nationally, but internationally to recognize the work that we've done for 32 years, being one of the 3 professional Black ballet companies in the American Black ballet companies, and Bal Ethnic actually being the only one with a female co-founder as well, with my wife, Nina Gilreath, as a co-founder. And also pointing out that our unique blend of classical ballet and African dance concepts, which that's been a praxis that we've focused on for 32 years of our existence. So that's one of the things that we've done consistently. So I think those are the things that distinguishes us from the other 2 Black professional ballet companies, Dance Theater of Harlem, which my wife Nina and I came from, and Collage Dance Collective, who will be joining us on the program at Kennedy Center called Reframing the Narrative.
Wow. Hey, Waverly, how's the rallying cry for social justice that we're seeing these days impacted your dance company and the world of dance overall, especially for Black dancers?
Well, the thing is, it's been a struggle that we've been dealing with far beyond the current conditions. I think what it's done is it illuminated some of the, atrocities that we've seen. But the thing is, it's been here, we've dealt with it. And as Maya Angelou would say, and still we rise, and we continue to press on. We figure out a way to navigate through it, where some people allow it to press them down and some people can't get above it. But what we do is we use our platform to fight not only for ourselves, but for other organizations and other people who can't necessarily fight for themselves.
What can you tell us about how Bal Ethnic survived during the pandemic when so many theaters were forced to shut down and some dance companies just couldn't keep going?
Right. One of the things we focused on a long time ago is investing and reinvesting in our product. And when I say our product, I don't just mean the physical product, I mean the people, because one of our philosophies is that people are greater than things, but things allow you to do certain things that you need to do to survive. And one of the things that we focused on early on is real estate. We purchased our property, we paid off our property, we didn't live above our means, we paid our bills so that our credit was decent. And so it gave us some flexibility to do some things and to help other people. And this is what we've utilized. With our Bal Ethnic estate, we have the Bal Ethnic Artist Residence, we have the Community Garden, Bal Ethnic Community Garden, we have the Bal Ethnic Memorial Garden, we have the outdoor stage, which we utilized greatly during the pandemic, throughout the pandemic, whereas when others would shut in, we were able to continue to work by going outside on our Bal Ethnic outdoor stage. And so I think, our ingenuity is our strength, and our passion for humanity and our community is what has kept us, surviving.
Kudos to you, Waverly. That puts you in the 1% bracket of being debt free.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the people who are going to survive.
Yes, and that was funny because that was one of the things that we spoke with Michael Kaiser, who formerly of Kennedy Center and of Bloomberg Foundation. Michael Kaiser told us, he was like, you know, be conservative with how you spend, and you know, pretty much hold on to your funds to get through this tight period, that unknown period, which was the pandemic and the social you know, injustice, unrest, and everything that was going on. And whereas we get out of one thing, and you know, it appears that we're going into something else. So it's a lesson for us.
Gasoline now.
Right. Well, it's the whole idea with Putin, you know, invading, you know, and so Ukraine, and so that's major. Some of the things that we're seeing going on. These are a lot of pandemics, a lot of serious things, one after the other, and you have to be spiritually yoked in order to navigate through these things. I think that's been the foundation of us. We use our healing drum circles, you know, which that was something that was my independent study in Ireland, at the Irish World Academy of Music and Dance of the University of Limerick. I'm one of the class of 2020, the pandemic class. And 2 years later now, April 23rd, I'll go back there and actually walk in my cap and gown finally. You know, my master's of ethnochoreology.
Now, you didn't found this by yourself. You had some help, right? Your wife?
Oh, definitely. My wife, Nina Gilreath, as I pointed out, the only female co-founder, the first and only of the 3 professional Black ballet companies.
Wow.
And I think that's, you know, incredible, astounding, you know, and so, yeah, she's a major part of it. There's no way in the world I'd be able to do it by myself.
You've been together how long?
Ooh, we've been together since we were dancing at Dance Theater of Harlem, and then through Ballethic, so over 34, 35 years.
Yeah, don't forget your anniversary or you'll be in trouble.
So,
No.
And then when you talk about what goals, why and have you met your goals for the company, especially with this big opportunity we're talking about with the upcoming performance at the Kennedy Center?
Well, I think we have ongoing goals. You know, we've met aspects of our goal. One of the major goals is our capital campaign, whereas we're trying to really build out our facility. We, you know, because we own the land, you know, in our community. And so it offers us the opportunity to really build something sustainable for future generations, and to have an organization that lives beyond myself and Nina, the founders. And that's our goal, is to, you know, we've been blessed to do what we do, even though we've struggled for, I would say, 30 of the years. These 2 years, we've gradually kind of moved out of just the harsh struggle. And so we're able to live and enjoy it a little more. But I want to make sure that our succession is smooth, and it's one that brings someone in, or people in, that have a passion for not only the dance and ballet and African dance concept, but also for the community, because the community is what's most important, and humanity.
You obviously have vision. What do you see for the future of Ballethic and the future for Black dance companies and dancers of color? And is it changing enough for them?
Well, I think one of the challenges is a lot of the Black dancers, now that this big inclusion thing is going on, you're having a hard time getting the Black, you know, classical dancers.
Why is that?
Because now the traditionally white organizations that have more resources can offer them more. And then and there's a mental aspect to it also, which I think, you know, pretty much goes back to, you know, when you've pretty much been treated like an underclass. It's a mental thing where you think, because it's, you know, it's not, you're in mainstream now, you've made it, no matter what level it is. And so often they're not as interested in the challenge of forging something new, making a new way. And so that's the challenge that we have. So I think our biggest challenge is now expanding more internationally in what we do.
Interesting.
So tell us again, Balethnics will appear at the Kennedy Center and how our audience can get tickets and learn more about your dance company.
Okay, yes, the tickets can be purchased through the Kennedy Center. Go onto the Kennedy Center on their website, and basically that's they have the whole Reframing the Narrative is the name of the program, June 14th through the 19th, and that is with Dance Theater of Harlem, Balethnic Dance Company, and Collage Dance Collective.
Excellent. You know, so it's such great content, great information. How excited are you? You've talked about, you know, the performance, but, you know, this coming up, like with the Kennedy Center, the memories you have of the Kennedy Center growing up and things like this, to talk about this. This is so monumental. People don't understand. The Kennedy Center is the Mecca.
Yes. My first performance at the Kennedy Center was as a member of Dance Theater of Harlem. We premiered a ballet called Phoenix Rising. Joffrey Holder did an incredible set design for that ballet. You know, the ballet took a bit of a hit. It was a challenge, but you know, as a premiere. But the set design was phenomenal by Joffrey Holder, and you know, like I said, that was my first time there, and so it was incredible. And this many years later, I'm back there. You know, it's like, and what I love about it is I'm back as a co-founding director and choreographer.
Will
So to me,
will Jeffrey be building the sets again?
Oh, Joffrey Holder has passed. May rest in peace, but he
rest in peace.
Was awesome. You know, yes.
Cool.
Now, before I get to Dave's question for you, I really think about performing and the performance and how dance has just expanded in its reach, especially when you talk about Dancing with the Stars and all the dance competition. How many of your dancers are looking in that area, not just the classical, to develop as dancers? What would you say in that scenario?
Well, I think, you know, dancers now in generally are really looking at the full gamut of options that are available for them. One of the things, the challenges that I think many of the grassroots arts organizations have is the fact that many of the dancers are going more over into film. Before that, it was more Broadway. So you have many options once you've reached a level of proficiency that, you know, that are within your reach if you're willing to put in the work. But it's all about the work, because, you know, all organizations want dancers with integrity in their work, with artistic capabilities, and basically, you know, that have the temperament to handle what we do.
That's great. All right, Dave, you have your caregiving question, and go ahead and ask the caregiving question.
Yeah. I'm not a very good dancer, but I am a caregiver. And I do own a business. I have a gas station. And one day my wife had a headache, 4 days, turned into a stroke, lost her speech, became paralyzed on one side at the age of 52. And I was 42. And all of a sudden I'm a caregiver. And I had to learn the hard way for a couple of years to go through the grief process of how to survive this. And then later on to thrive it, which we're doing now. I've spoken all over the country, spoken at Carnegie Hall and on 52 TV shows, and just helping people to survive, because 30% of caregivers die before their loved ones do, just from the stress. And I believe everybody's going to be eventually either going to become a caregiver or need a caregiver. My question to you is, how has caregiving touched your life? And have you thought about, you know, the prospect that one day you may be a caregiver or need a caregiver?
Well, actually, my wife and I were caregivers for my mother-in-law, and we did our best. She suffering from dementia,
That's
and
terrible.
you know, you realize how much it takes, because it's a 24-hour job. You know, you can say, okay, I'm going to handle it for this many hours. You handle it that many hours. No, it's a 24-hour job. And that eventually we did have to get professional help with her, because it got to a point where we were afraid that she would just walk off during the middle of the night.
She's a
and
wanderer,
we would
huh?
never see her again, you know,
Yeah.
because and the thing is, sometimes it's most dangerous for the ones who can maintain a sense of rationality. That's the scariest part. That's the scariest part, because people outside of people who are around them, they don't realize that the illness is there.
Exactly.
And so, you know, they're listening and they're convincing them that everything's fine, and they're, you know, and they're talking to them. And so they can navigate around, you know, and so that's the scariest part. And I was a nervous wreck the whole time. I would sleep right on the couch, you know, where I could see the front door when I was there, just so that I know she's not wandering off.
Yeah. Today we've got a lot of technology, nanny cams and little
Right.
alarms, etc. But yeah, God bless you for doing that. I created a
And
website.
likewise to you.
Well, thank you. Caregiverdave.com is an online community support group. Any caregivers
Absolutely.
out there who need help, want to not just
Mhm.
survive, but to thrive, go to caregiverdave.com. Lots of free gifts, tools, resources.
Mhm.
All right. Well, we appreciate
Definitely.
it. And Waverly, best place we can go purchase tickets now. Go to your website. Is that the best place?
The tickets actually are available through the Kennedy Center.
Okay.
You know, that would be the Kennedy Center. www.kennedycenter.com, I believe it is. And then definitely check out Balethnic's website, www.balethnic.org, because we can also direct you there.
Well, we appreciate it, Waverly. It's great information. It's great to see how you're definitely doing such great things for the community and doing your passion at the same time. We appreciate you stopping by, and thanks for coming on.
All right.
Thank
Thank
you,
you so
Larry.
much for having us.
All right, you're
Bye-bye.
listening and watching the Neil Haley Show's Caregiver Dave Celebrity segment. We'll be back in just a moment.
So Nick, did we forget anything?
You know, I think we're missing one cable. You know what I mean?
No.
Can I help you guys? Where are we going, fellas?
What the? Hey guys, what's going?
So come to BPTV, where we have everything you need to make great TV shows, including the cables.
We're back to the Neil Haley Show on the Total Celebrity segment. I'm excited to welcome to the program Cameron Manheim. Cameron, what's going on? Thanks for stopping by. And I know you're excited about this guest starring role on Law and Order, especially this is the 21st season. Can you believe it?
You asked me what's going on. No big deal. Just on Law and Order, 21st season. It's so exciting for me. I did Law and Order 30 years ago. I did a couple of episodes. It was always something very dear to my heart. And then I was just minding my own business in Los Angeles, and I get a call from the Dick Wolf universe saying, do you want to come and play with us and be on our show? So I came in December, and I've been here ever since, and just making, stories and hoping to delight audiences with our show,
Exactly. Let's talk about specifically enough, 21st season, your character. And if this case coming up on Thursday really speaks to you, doesn't it? Especially to your character from back in the history of when you were on Law and Order before.
Yeah, it's a really interesting, true, well, based on a true story, inspired by a true story of someone who is serving time in jail right now. Kate Dixon, Lieutenant Kate Dixon, who I play, she had a case many years ago that she was unable to solve. And she just had to chalk it up as an overdose and not as a murder. And it haunted her. And a new case comes through, Precinct 27, and she sees a lot of similarities. And her detectives don't understand why she is so vehement about going after this person. There's not a lot of evidence to go after, but she just knows. And so she goes after it like she hasn't gone after anything before. And I got to really, pull all my punches. And it's really disturbing and kind of awful, but hopefully they get to the bottom of it, and you'll have to watch to find out.
You have to watch to find out. That's such a great point. But also the point is, what makes Law and Order so special is the fact that these cases are real, that there was a case similar to that. And people just, sometimes we don't see it on the news unless we go to local. We're talking about only a few things, and we don't know about the things that really could affect us more, especially in our communities.
I mean, that's really a good point. We see the top headlines, the sexual abuse, but you don't see all of the little things that are happening in our town. And that's why Law and Order is so amazing, because it is really trying to tell the story of just, the regular people in our lives. And another thing that I love so much about how Law and Order is so respectful about how they handle these cases is that TV is really the principal driver of our culture. Viewers are heavily influenced by how these institutions are portrayed on TV. Everything I ever learned about law was from the practice or Law and Order. So we take a very serious approach at getting it right, following these cases as they would be followed. We do it quickly and in a short amount of time. Sometimes these cases last for years and we do it in 44 minutes, but we at least are trying to be true to the story and, make sure that we're bringing justice the way it should be brought.
Exactly, bringing justice, making sure you're doing it the way you need to do it. And everyone needs to tune in Thursday, April 14th at 8 p.m. Eastern, only on NBC, Law and Order. I appreciate it, Cameron, for you stopping by. And I tell you, what a great an experience that you never know to get to be back on Law and Order. It's got to be cool. And I know you're excited about your fans seeing you again on Thursday. So thanks again for stopping by.
Thank you so much. And thanks for tuning in.
You're
we
welcome.
Love you guys.
All right. You're listening and watching The Neil Haley Show. And we'll be back in just a moment.
My friends, our frisbee skills are quite impressive.
They're almost as impressive as our TV production skills that we honed at BPTV.
Yes, without BPTV, we could never achieve such promotional prowess.
So volunteer at BPTV and you too can become a TV production master.
We're back to the Neil Haley Show here on the Total Celebrity segment. I'm excited to welcome to the program Taylor Gray of High Expectations. Taylor, thanks for stopping by. How are you?
Doing really well. Thank you for having me, Neil. I'm looking forward to chatting about High Expectations.
Yeah, I'm a sports fan, and this is the kind of sports film, but also it's a story. And it also is a story of living in someone's shadows. And I remember, and I'm gonna give you an example of it, my own life. My late father was brilliant. #2 in the Naval Academy, worked for Admiral Rickover, if people are, historically understanding his, vice president. And I was an athlete, but I was not, to the level of intelligence of my father. So I always lived under my father's shadows when it came to intelligence and things like that. And this kind of reminds me of you and Kelsey in certain ways of what you had to go through as your character.
Yeah, that's all we're hoping for, is that personal connection and people relating to these universal themes, and also to this character and what Jack's going through. And it's cool that you say that, because the writer Chris White actually has a very similar story. His father was very successful, and he sort of took that dynamic that he grew up with and the feelings that he harbored, as being a son of that, living in such a massive shadow, and then sort of imprinted it upon the sports world and put it into a genre film, like a soccer film that we have. And it's still, at the end of the day, like you said, is a story about family and relationships and healing. And it's sort of David and Goliath, and overcoming all odds.
And then Kelsey's character is a very successful soccer coach. Explain a little bit of that. Again, I just watched the trailer. I'm going to definitely watch the whole movie, but yeah, kind of explain that to our audience.
Yeah, so the Kelsey Grammer plays my father, who was a very successful soccer player of his own, and then became a coach in Europe, before coming back to the States. And when he was coaching in the States, his son, Jack Davis's older brother, was drafted onto his team, is a very accomplished goalkeeper. And then Jack, my character, comes along out of college and is on his father's team, but only briefly, and is cut publicly and humiliated in front of the entire sports world, and sort of feels done out by his father. And then we jump into the story and see his upward trajectory as he tries to make a name for himself.
And you're going through a lot of hard times at first with that, because again, you always were trying to be as good as your father was as a soccer player, which you couldn't. And then you get the opportunity, and then you get cut. So it really puts you in a spiraling mode of really hitting rock bottom, understanding the challenges that go through reaching high expectations, which again is the name of the movie. And you really are going through tough times to try to figure it out.
Absolutely. It is a cliche to the name of the film, but it is high expectations that he is trying to live up to. And sometimes we find that when there are such high expectations, the way we react to that is just because of the difficulty of trying to achieve those. And so in Jack's case, he becomes a bit of a black sheep, and he rather than even pursuing his dreams, he sort of falls victim to other vices.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you look at a lot of sons that have famous fathers that, didn't do as well. Mel Torme's son, he was pretty successful, but didn't. Again, Charlie Pride's son. You just list goes on women and men that had, successful moms or dads and living under that shadow in so many ways. And you have to figure it out. Are you going to take on your own role? Are you going to try to not be part of that family? Or are you going to do exactly, and you chose to play soccer, your character, and that really makes it challenging because that's all you wanted to do, it sounds like, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Because sometimes we'll see children will go off in a different direction than what their family does. And because it's hard to live up to that sort of pedigree. And so the fact that he is just continuing to do what he loves, which is soccer. I mean, in his family, we have other siblings, and one is in government, very successful. One is in business, very successful. And then, of course, the other brother, who's also a footballer, a soccer player, is the MVP of the league. And so there are these sort of giants towering above him, but he himself feels that he's capable of being amongst them, amongst the giants. And so I think a lot of people will connect with that, because everyone's felt that at some time or another, like inadequate in comparison to those around them. And so hopefully this inspires people and they relate to it.
Yeah, and I think it definitely will, and it's really well done. How does it working with Kelsey? Are you a fan of his before? I know you've been successfully on your own, right? Especially in the Star Wars game. But when it comes to specifically enough Kelsey, the pinnacle of Frasier, Cheers. I mean, wow, that must have been impressive to work with him.
Yeah, my dad was really excited when I told him that Kelsey Grammer was going to be playing my father in the film. because he loved Cheers and watched Frasier. And so I
Mhm.
remember when I was younger, watching Cheers with him. And although it's a little bit beyond our generation, everyone's familiar with it. Everyone knows Frasier. And so, and he's also done so many different things. His resume is so extensive and he's been around for a long time. And it was just really cool to share scenes with him and work opposite him. And the way our dynamic works in the film, there's a lot of emotional depth. So it was really great to be able to dive into it with such an experienced veteran like him. And the stories in between scenes were just so fun.
Oh, absolutely, and that's great. And what is your hope for the film High Expectations? What do you want to gain out of the story? That story being told to everyone. What do you want?
I hope, I think we touched on it a little earlier. I hope it inspires people, and I hope it encourages healing within families, and people can look back on certain memories within their family and maybe see it with a new perspective. And I hope it gets younger people who are on their journey to whatever it is that their dreams are. It gives them a little fuel to the fire. I know when I was younger with my little brother, when we would watch films like this, we would come out of it and we'd immediately get out on the basketball court if it were that, or pick up a guitar and start practicing and just really inspire people to continue to chase their dreams despite what obstacles are in front of them.
All right, and when is High Expectations coming out?
High Expectations is out April 7th.
All right, April 7th. High Expectations. Appreciate you coming by, and great conversation, great movie. Definitely people should check it out. And you did a great job playing that character. Do you have any soccer experience? Was this the first time?
I played pretty competitively growing up all the way through high school, and then I had other buddies who continued on, but my path went more towards acting. That's when I started doing a Nickelodeon show, and so things had to take precedent. But I've always been such a big fan, and so to have this opportunity to play with not only on Brianna Scurry's team, who's also accomplished in soccer, but to play with these ex-pros and collegiate players was really, really fun.
All right, well, fantastic. We thank you. Best place we can follow you on social media. Where can we go?
I'm on Instagram at TaylorGray3 and Twitter at I am Taylor Gray.
All right, thanks a lot, Taylor, for coming by. I appreciate it.